Greetings, folks, and welcome to today's show. Our guest today is Mr. John Carver, who is the Director of Schools for the City of Tullahoma since last November, I guess.
November 1st, yes, sir.
November 1st, right. And has been around a little bit longer than that. But he has, we can say, a different vision, at least quite a number of changes that are in his head that he's looking at for Tullahoma. We had him on the show in which he was just sort of outlined those back the first of the year. And so we're giving him a few months and find out how he's doing. And we'll do this periodically. Sounds like what he's saying is that we got a plan laid out that takes until 2025 to implement, so we're going to have a few more shows, I think. Okay, thanks for taking time to join us and share your vision with us. You had talked about personalized teaching, whatever that is. You want to teach all the kids. I guess most of us thought we were teaching all the kids. He's also made a couple of significant personnel changes. So let's find out what he's going, what his vision is, and so we'll be back in a minute.
The glory days, running to daylight on the gridiron, and chasing a ball with a mind of its own, cheering the team to victory, and marching to the beat of your own drum. Memories that last a lifetime. But sometimes we're reminded of our glory days in ways we'd rather forget. Get back in the game. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live and play well.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Barnett here at Russell Barnett Ford of Winchester. Check out the 2018 Ford Taurus, yours today for $24,995. That's Russell Barnett Ford on 41A in Winchester, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. And remember, my question is, why buy anywhere else?
We're talking today, folks, with Mr. John Carver, who is the Director of Schools for the City of Tullahoma, and he's bringing some a different vision, some thoughts into the system, and we want to find out what that's all about. So, well, one sort of general topic that cropped up was what was referred to as personalized teaching.
That's right.
What does that mean?
Well, the educational system that we all went through, the teacher prep programs, they trained you to teach to the middle, which meant that if you, as you presented your lessons, you were looking at that middle group of kids. The thinking was the talented and gifted kids would know it already, and the kids at the other end of the spectrum would have additional supports and stuff. I can still remember my undergraduate teacher prep teacher saying, well, just when you design your lessons, design them to the middle. And that doesn't work. Each child learns differently. A 21st century educator needs to be able to tailor that instruction to meet the way a kid learns. And so, it's a paradigm shift. Some kids are tactile learners. Some kids can pick things up from reading a book. The best experience is when learning is when you experience something. Some of the things that have evolved are like problem solving, giving kids real world problems and teaching them how to access the information to come up with solutions to those real world problems. I just had a thought, back in my office, I've got a math textbook from 1858. Math textbook. And it's interesting as you look at it, it's a list of problems, equations. And I don't know about you, but in my high school math classes, you could look in the back and the answers would be there for the odds or the evens, right? Yeah. And that's the way this 1858 textbook was designed. And, I guess applications of math yes, you've got to learn the formulas, the algebraic formulas and your math facts and all that, but here in the 21st century, applying them to a real world problem. If you're building a house, being able to, in your head, figure out how much per square foot you're going to build that house for. If you're going to pour concrete, how much you're going to have to pay per yard for the concrete, or for that matter, shingling a roof. You start making those direct applications of math and not learning them in isolation. The research is out there is that the math achievement goes way up. So, personalized learning, instead of the teacher being the sage on the stage, the teacher has in their mind what we want the kids to know and be able to do. And so just like when you play golf, you got all kinds of golf clubs in your bag, and that each time you swing at the ball, you've got to be able to select the right club. Well, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to develop that in the classroom so that the teacher knows what club to pull out of their bag to help educate their child.
Well, give us a for instance. What are you?
Well, in an elementary setting, they have for reading. There's a concept called the Daily Five. And the Daily Five is a block of time in which...
reading?
This is in reading, okay? And so the Daily Five is that within the classroom, there are children that are in 5 different stations. Read to self, read to others, read text, and at the same time, the teacher is providing direct instruction to those children that need it. And so in this classroom, instead of the teacher being the center of the learning, each child knows what they need to learn how to do. They understand what they need to do to become better readers. They've taken ownership in their learning, and so they're going through these different stations, if you would, or these different activities based on where they're at. We've become very active on social media. And many of the teachers are on Twitter and taking part in these global Twitter chats in which ideas are shared back and forth. And I mentioned to you off camera that this last fall we got connected with a school district in Harrisburg, South Dakota. And I think I shared that with you last time I was on the show, where they're in the 6th year of elementary children not being sifted and sorted by chronological age, but by their ability group. And so you have children that historically would have been in a 3rd grade, and being in 3rd grade, they would have been restricted to 3rd grade curriculum. But in this new model, if they have a strength in reading and want to be reading on the 5th grade level, there's a means in which to do that. When you move into the high school setting, there are certain graduation requirements you have to graduate from high school. And I guess the paradigm shift would be, historically, when you would take an ACT test, it's basically, what do you know? It's a Trivial Pursuit questions, right? And we need to get to a point where children, yes, they have that basic knowledge, but we want them to be able to do something with that knowledge. And again, solving a real world problem. So again, personalized learning as a classroom teacher means finding out what your children know, finding out how they best learn, and then tailoring the instruction to that child's learning style. And if you know that, you can cluster different children together based on those learning styles. And it all stems back to brain research. And, you know, from a physiological standpoint, when you learn something new and different, it causes your brain to physically change, just like working out in the gym. And so again, if you're going to Planet Fitness and wanting to lose weight, you might be able to do it on a stair climber. You might be able to do it on the elliptical, or you may want to go to the weights and just lift weights to lose that weight.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned the social media. You bringing? Are you thinking of bringing more technology and including things like the social media into the classroom?
Well, again, technology has become kind of a buzzword, right? And we need to keep in mind that our focus is on learning and being creative and imaginative. That's the focus. That's what our country needs right now. And technology is but a tool. And so, you know, having those tools at our kids' fingertips and having them know how to use it appropriately, that's a valuable skill set. And think of it this way: when you were in the classroom, it would be one thing for the teacher to always be directing the lesson, but how much more information could you glean if you had a World Book Encyclopedia set in your classroom? You've got to be able to access the information, manipulate it, and then again, use it for some purpose.
Okay. One other buzzword that came out was the fact that you wanted to teach all kids.
Yes, sir.
As I say, I guess we thought we were teaching all the kids.
We had all the...
What have you got in mind?
Well, again, it goes back to this concept that all you have to do is go online and Google classrooms from the 50s and the 60s or 70s or even in the 80s and look at pictures. And you had all the students, yes, in the classroom at the same time, in chairs, in rows, with a teacher providing them with information. A 21st century classroom, you're not going to see chairs and rows. You're going to see small groups clustered. You're going to see the teacher moving around, and it's not in a lecture format. It's more in a format like here in the studio, where you've got all different kinds of sets and you've got all different kinds of props, and you use those appropriately to create your shows. We're going to use that concept in the classroom.
Okay. How do you decide what do you use for a standard for your teaching, and tied to that is how does a testing system work in this arrangement? You got everybody going in a different direction.
Well, but the bottom line is there are still state standards. There are still state objectives that the kids, they need to be able to do that, right? And so that's but again, you got to think about the test itself. Standardized tests, fill in the dot, multiple choice questions, really they measure what you know, but it doesn't measure how you apply it. So to take a step back, as far as having a model goes on what this looks like, there isn't one. I think I shared with you off camera is that we're building the plane and flying it at the same time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that raises a bunch of questions, but meanwhile, we need to take a short commercial break, folks, and we'll be right back.
Barnett here at Russell Barnett Chevrolet GMC in Winchester. Check out the 2019 Chevrolet Impala, up to 19% off original MSRP. That's Russell Barnett Chevrolet GMC on the bypass in Winchester, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. And remember, why buy anywhere else?
It's time for every family and business in Tullahoma to go green and recycle. Tullahoma Public Works makes it simple and easy to recycle. Just place your recyclable materials, paper, plastic, aluminum, and cardboard beside your garbage container on the same day your garbage is picked up. Your recycled materials don't have to be in a fancy container. Recycling is not only the right thing to do, it makes sense. Recycling pays. Paying to bury our garbage costs each of us. Please do your part. Let's go green, Tullahoma, and recycle.
When your family suffers the loss of a loved one, the caring and compassionate staff at Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel are standing by to assist you in every way possible. We are proud to support local industry and offer only Batesville caskets. Many funeral homes don't own or operate a crematory. We utilize the only crematory in Coffee County. Your loved one never leaves Coffee County. We can accommodate any need and any budget. Consider our complete pre-need service to remove this burden from your family during their time of grief. Lock in today's low costs and protect from inflation. Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel. Our family caring for your family.
We're back, folks, and we're talking today with John Carver, who is the director of Tullahoma City School System. And he's got some considerably different vision and ideas for what teaching or learning is all about. And so we're trying to get a little bit of an insight into how this is going to work. And we'll be visiting this for several years, I'm sure. Another buzzword I remember hearing, I call it a buzzword because I'm not sure what it means, that was called that the kids need to be able to demonstrate what they can do.
Yes, sir.
That sounds more physical than mental.
Well,
what does that mean?
Well, and again, I mentioned to you in the last segment, we're building and flying the plane at the same time. And that, there are innovative things happening and innovative thinking occurring across the United States. And so, we have to get out of our silo of Tullahoma. We want to maintain the things that have been great, been part of our reputation in the past, the strong math program. But in order to get to all children, we need, what we've been doing is going out into the world and seeing what's happening in other places. And then looking at those ideas and then bringing them back here. And so... Well,
you need to elaborate a little bit on that, I think. Yeah, you've been sending...
Teams of teachers.
You spent a lot of money on travel in the last few months.
But to back up a second, the federal government provides us with funding for professional development training. So the money hasn't come out of any of the local coffers. The money for us to do this has been part of our allocation of federal and state funds for professional development. So it's not costing our taxpayers anything to go do this, all right? So we have sent folks to go out into the world and see what's going on. So we have been to Collierville, Tennessee. We've been to Arlington, Tennessee, 2 districts over in the Memphis area who, again, are Tennessee school districts that are thinking outside the box. And we sent a team of teachers, administrators, a school board member went, a couple of school board members went to see what is going on there, to find out what their secret sauce is, and to bring it back and have it be part of our thinking. We've had, we had 2 teams go to Harrisburg, South Dakota to see how they've restructured their elementary schools. And again, board members, Amy Johnson going one time and board member Gigi Robinson going on the second time, so they could also see how it looks different. We had a team of administrators and teachers, went to Iowa and Nebraska, and I think in 3 days we were in 7 different school districts looking to see how they are educating children and elementary, middle school, and high school. And we saw some pretty cool things. To educate all kids also means how are we providing services for special education students? And we sent a team of folks to Maryland, and we also sent another team of students or team of teachers out to Washington State to see. We're going all over to see what are the best practices, and we're not going to try and take somebody else's program and make us fit into it. What we want to do is we want to go out and see the best of the best, the emerging thinking, and bring it back to Tullahoma, and then design something that's going to fit us here. This last summer, I think you were at our school board meeting last Monday night. The teachers are on fire. I mean, I am so impressed with their desire to learn. Susan Fanning, who's our Director of Curriculum Instruction and Assessment this past summer, she facilitated 60 professional development learning opportunities with teachers who had Tullahoma teachers that had investigated emerging practices, and so 60 opportunities, hundreds of Tullahoma teachers going through and learning new strategies. And teachers learn best from teachers. And so what we're trying to do is create this ecosystem of innovation and creativity as far as education goes. And then that ecosystem then spread from the school through the community. And again, we want Tullahoma to become an incubator for startup companies. Mayor Curley has talked about his upcoming year, the theme being entrepreneurialism. Well, that's going to begin at the school. But we're going to need time to get into that. And for a lot of folks, I guess I give the invitation to come visit the schools and see what's going on. This last year, Dr. Norris, April Norris at Bel Air, we were able, through social media, we made a connection with a Catholic elementary school in Philadelphia. So during second semester, every classroom was linked to a classroom in Philadelphia. So 1 week, the instruction, the kids in Philly were teaching us, and the next week, the kids in Tullahoma were teaching the kids in Philadelphia. And Dr. Norris tells the story about the children learning how to use and make graphs based on data in Google, right? Using Google Forms and stuff. And she shared at a staff meeting that these fifth graders and fourth graders were creating graphs that she just learned how to do to finish up her doctorate. Now you think about those kids having those skill sets. It's a game changer. And so this upcoming school, and we still don't have the finished plan as, okay, this is what it looks like. We're going to spend this upcoming school year, the 1920 school year, to continue to go out and search and find the best practices and bring them back here. Next summer, we will be working on, okay, how do we take those best practices and align them with what the state standards are and create this new. But we do know that the assessment piece is going to be settled, or the assessment piece is going to be around some kind of a student portfolio, where the children not only can share their scores, but they can also give evidence of projects and things that they have accomplished. And for an employer, your test scores are great, but if you can also show that you took part in a marketing campaign for the 2020 census, or you helped to design a new app to an employer or to a college looking to recruit kids, those are big.
Okay. We're going to run out of time in a jiffy. The one thing that I guess I'm still not clear on is how we demonstrate all this. What are we to do about the existing test system? And we're not going to have time to answer that, so we'll save that for another time. you've made a. You've been, how many school systems have you been through?
I think,
20.
well, at least a dozen different school districts we've had teams visiting. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah. Okay. And you're going to do some more of that this coming year?
We are.
Okay. And you're going to use somebody else's money?
And well, it's not. It is our money,
Yeah.
but it's our allocation for professional development,
Right.
From title money. Yes, sir.
Yeah, from the state or feds. Okay. Well, that, folks, so we've run out of time. So let's take a short commercial break and wrap up.
Russell Barnett Hometown Auto Rental has proudly served your auto rental for over 30 years. Check out this huge selection to choose from. Small car, mid-size car, full-size car, crossover vehicle, SUV, minivan, pickup trucks, 12 and 15 passenger vans. Whether big or small, Russell Barnett Hometown Auto Rental has them all. Stop by our 2 locations to serve you, Tullahoma and in Winchester. And remember, my question is, why rent anywhere else?
So you've been meaning to do something healthy, commune with nature, get outdoors and meet new people. We have the perfect solution. Come hike with us. You can find a Tennessee Trails Association chapter near you, including Clarksville, Columbia Franklin, Highland Rim, Jackson, Knoxville, Oak Ridge, Memphis, Murfreesboro, Nashville, Plateau at Crossville, and Upper Cumberland. We're on the web at TennesseeTrails.org. It's fun, it's stress-free, and it's good for you. See you on the trails.
We've been talking today with Mr. John Carver, the Director of Schools for the City of Tullahoma, and he's got a considerably different vision. Well, he's trying to encourage all of us to have a different vision for improving the system and for teaching the kids. So with that, is there a little message you'd like to deliver to the folks out there?
Well, this is going to be a journey, and that I truly believe our country is at a crossroads, and we need to turn out young people that can think, lead, and serve, and also young people with a strong moral compass. We need problem solvers. And in the upcoming school year, the 1920 school year, we're going to be reaching out to business and industry, seeing how they do business. We're going to be sending teams out across the United States, not on taxpayer dime, but on money that's ours, to see what is going on and bring the best of the best back here at Tullahoma.
Okay. And with that, we will try to revisit what the best of the best is going to be. And again, thanks very much for taking time to join us. You got a lot on your plate. And with that, folks, we want to thank you for joining us and inviting us into your parlor, and we will see you next time.